Hello and welcome to the final day's coverage of the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic. It's been one of the fastest and most competitive races in the 9-year history of the race, and unfortunately this afternoon we come to you live from Flagstaff Hill, and a very wet and miserable Flagstaff Hill indeed. And fortunately for the riders, they didn't have to cop the conditions we are facing.
Conditions like we're seeing right now, Andy, could have changed the whole face of the result, because the storm is absolutely tremendous. Very fortunate indeed.
Well, one aspect of this race which has really captured the eye of all the critics, including Phill and everyone else who's toured with the Cycle Classic all the way down the East Coast, is the domination of the Soviet team. Of course, Galushko came into today's two stages, leading the race. And let's just recap and see what has happened over the first 8 days. It was 8 days and more than 1,000 kilometres ago now, but for a brief few days, Dutchman Bobby Rasenberg held the leader's jersey. Little did he know the pedal power looming behind him. On day 2, it started. A frighteningly disciplined Soviet team driving their way through the field. Soviet road champion Vladimir Galushko second over the line in Byron Bay. By day 3, Galushko had earned the yellow jersey, and his team were working like assassins, hunting down potential threats. Englishman Dave Spencer tried into Grafton. A lead of 5 minutes over the Soviet-driven pack evaporated to just 7 seconds at the finish. Glenn Wilson fancied his chances on day 4. The Aussie teenager, only included in the race days before its start, was swallowed up 2 kilometres from the finish. First over the line, Vladimir Galushko. The only hiccup on the Soviet machine, Galushko snaps a seat but quickly rejoins the race. This was the fastest race in the history of the event. By day 5, only 55 seconds separated the entire field. The lead team decided it was time to get serious. Into Foster, 17 riders broke clear, Galushko among them, and they finished 8 minutes in front. Galushko's only challenger, Pole Spinyev Spruk, was in this group, but on the way to the entrance yesterday, he would puncture twice, falling 2 minutes behind the pack. So coming into this final day, it would take an act of God to stop Galushko from winning this race. But maybe this amazing Soviet team even had that covered. So there you have it, the general classification, the overall standings. Galushko ahead of David Spencer by 53 seconds, and chasing Spencer for that fairly important second position, if not the first, was Pizzetti, Matt Sana, the sprint specialist in the criterium, and Thomas Lisa. And Phill Liggett, well, it is a fairly tough course, I suppose, this leg from Brighton to Wollongong, but it's only 56 kilometres compared to what we saw.
Exactly, but short stages, and riders are only looking for seconds. I mean, 53 seconds is only about just over a kilometre, well, not a kilometre ahead of the field. And you've got 2 nice climbs, and of course the long swoop into Wollongong, where riders should come off there 80 to 90 kilometres an hour. And we've always got those 20-second wind bonuses every day, so he doesn't need 20 seconds, he needs just over half a minute.
Yes, and thankfully they didn't come off those sort of conditions we're facing at the moment here, because it would have been interesting to see exactly what happened. So without any further ado, let's look at that stage from Brighton to Wollongong.
Keep breathing slowly and deeply. Allow yourself to become even more relaxed. Let all your cares and worries drift away. You can let go now. Just let go.
And so the field rolled in neutralised formation away from the beautiful harbour bridge of Sydney, and quite a weight on the shoulders here as they passed beneath the airfield at Sydney Airport itself. But there was a greater weight, of course, on the shoulder of the overall leader, Vladimir Galushko. In the yellow jerseys, he came to Coffs Harbour. A great day he'll always remember, because he won both stages there. The criterium at Grafton, and then the one that counted that gave him the race lead in this event, the big sprint at Coffs itself. The field, as you can hear, were in joyful mood, and wouldn't you be after racing over 1,100 kilometres down the rugged countryside of Australia's most beautiful eastern coastline. And there were still 2 hills to come as well. In the white jersey there, Manfred Otto, the overall leader now in the King of the Mountains, and very shortly he knew he would become the outright winner. The white jersey at the middle of our picture there is Graham Miller. 2 gold medals for him in January in the Commonwealth Games. But for him, he lost too much time on the very first day in Bond University, and he's always been out of the hunt for the leader's yellow jersey. The only other man, in fact, who's worn that jersey in blue here is Bob Reisenberg, number 51. And there was still some animosity amongst the Polish riders with the World's team. This is Spruck spraying the other rider with water. And in fact, it's Galushko himself who cools them both down. Spruck, the unluckiest rider of the weekend when he crashed twice yesterday and had 2 bicycle changes, losing his overall challenge today and what was just a 15-second time deficit. Now, over 3 minutes behind, the most he could hope for would be a stage win in Wollongong. The Phill soon sharpened their legs for the final charge down towards Wollongong and the afternoon's criterium. Last year's winner, Matthew Bazzano, when he came down this road just a year ago, he was of course wearing Galushko's yellow jersey, and Galushko was riding in 3rd position overall. Now the situation was somewhat reversed. But Bazzano, still looking for the first stage win for Australia, was soon on the attack, taking with him a Soviet rider, Sergei Shmievskoy, and also the Polish rider Andrzej Barshish. Bazzano tried desperately to drop the 2 Eastern European cyclists, but they were too vigilant for that, and they soon caught him up again. Shmievskoy, a little check over the shoulder, thinking more likely of the whereabouts of his team leader, Galushko, than winning the stage in Wollongong. These 3 riders were really no challenge at all now to the yellow jersey. Over the last 9 days, they'd lost far too much time to concern Galushko. On the long descent down to Wollongong, this happened at 90 kilometres an hour. Rider number 25 had crashed, and Adam Wolanski was out of the race with a broken left collarbone. What a way to end 9 days in the saddle, and just a matter of 7 kilometres from the end of the race. The other 3 riders didn't know anything about this, and it hadn't been Poland's weekend so far, had it? But it was to be now, because sprinting up to the finishing line, Barship's got the stage win he really wanted in a great sprint finish here. Matthew Bazzano tried so hard and almost took it on the line, just a quarter of a wheel behind the Polish rider, and so the Australians were still denied their first stage win of the week. 3rd place, Shmievskoy of the USSR.
Great day for the Soviets. Looking at them there on Flagstaff Hill, conditions much better, as I've pointed out earlier. Confirmation of the results there: Apollo 1st, Hotel New Hampshire 2nd, Bazzano last year's winner, and the Polaroid rider in 3rd position. And looking at overall standings, didn't really make that much of a difference, Phil.
No, it went exactly the way that not just Galushko wanted, but David Spencer as well, because all those sprint bonuses were taken away, and Spencer still held on to his 2nd place overall from Pizzetti, the Italian rider.
I'm sure that some of the Australians would be interested to know exactly how it stood for their riders, as all of us down here were. Out of that stage, Phillips from the Wyong Shire team and Barmer, they were about 125, looking at the overall standings. Just, yes, 125, 1 minute 25 seconds, and further down was Lima.
And a good performance by both of them. Jason Phillips is a young rider who has a good future ahead of him, and it's nice he was on a new team in the race, the Wyong Shire team, because the new sponsors. But after this, we went on to the afternoon criterium, and although the sun is out again once more behind us, it was indeed out for the riders. 40 kilometres on Flagstaff Hill. The wind that has annoyed the riders ever since we left Bond University was blowing, if anything, at gale force now, and of course the fight was still on for seconds. Let's join now the voice of Stuart Doyle, who's done a marvellous job commentating around the roads for the Commonwealth Blank Classic ever since we started in Bond.
stage of the bike race, but certainly it's surprising me indeed it is that Pizzetti is not having more to say to Spencer, because if I was Pizzetti, I'd be making sure that he earned his place as second bike rider. We see now in the monitor that the team lead, the race leader Vladimir Galushko, has just had something to say to Spencer, so even Galushko's not too happy that Spencer's not working, even though he's 53 seconds behind the Russian.
Okay, so Mark, you're going for your selection once again in the race as he talks to his mum, rightio.
Okay, Stu, well, I think I'll go for probably Galushko. I still can't decide. I'm sitting on the fence here at the moment, but it's either Galushko or Pizzetti, and I'll say it's going to be Galushko. I think he wanted to go out of this tour with the yellow jersey, and it's the last stage winner.
Brett Dutton, last chance.
He's already won the 2 stages, so I think he's going to get today.
Okay, so we're going to the former and the present champ as we see the 4 riders away. In the yellow colours is Vladimir Galushko, the champion, the super cyclist, a rider with his proven worth throughout the world. There he is, a big hand. Enrico Pizzetti is desperate. He is desperate, Enrico Pizzetti, the little Italian, and he's got that mean look on his face as he really powers into the front now. Enrico Pizzetti. So we see the riders going through. The chasing bunch is coming. They're really bringing back the pace. I think that's Roland Henning that's doing the pace. It's only 12 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. They've whittled that difference down to 12 seconds. And the 2 East German cyclists, Thomas Lisa and Roland Henning, are the ones that are trying to bridge the gap. There's a Dutch rider that's been left getting in the way here, calling them on. He better get out of the way. He's trying to do a turn of pace, but if the officials pick him up, it could be dangerous. Pizzetti has got away by the move. It's one of the big Dutch riders making it confusing, but it's Enrico Pizzetti has grabbed the opportunity, has moved through. So it's the Italian cyclist Pizzetti, then would be Paul Barton, followed by Vladimir Galushko. The Englishman is still not doing a turn of pace. The big Dutch rider has got in that punch, right in second position. That's Otto Artenwanger. Then we look to see the main group. Boy, oh boy, are they moving. The Polish riders are really setting the pace because they haven't got a rider in that leading breakaway 4. Simeon Hempsel, the English champion, is moving in the chasing bunch. This is, of course, seeing it by the television monitors, what's happening out on the road. Number 27, Igor Batenko, is getting in the pace of things too. 12 seconds, I'm told, is the difference. And they could bring it back, ladies and gentlemen. This is another chasing bunch. Danny Hennessy leading them along. Well, by some of the good judges of cycling up here on the stage, that these guys could be caught. There's the big pack. There's the leaders. And that's the riders going through. Ottenwanger is doing the turn. He shouldn't be in the pack. Then, of course, is Paul Barton. Then the Soviet Union cyclist. Then Pizzetti. And in his usual place at the back of the pack, of course, is the English rider. Still 12 seconds. And there's Ottenwanger doing the turn. Paul Barton sitting the wheel as close as he can. The Russian champion right on the wheel, number 26, Vladimir Galushko. Then is Enrico Pizzetti, the Europa Cycle cyclist. And the Sutton cyclist, the Englishman, Dave Spencer, the winner of the Grafton stage next. Well, there's a puncher there to Robert Farmer in these closing laps. Looking to see the leading pack has broken up a little. Paul Barton and Galushko have got away. There's a gap. Pizzetti's been caught out as trying to bridge the gap. The little guy, he's got a lot of get up and go as they come through now. The final stage sponsored by Resort Hotels of Australia. And don't forget down there at Brighton, the new resort, it's a beauty. Coming up now, Galushko. Then they go the corner down by the Surf Club. Galushko leading the way. Then, of course, Paul Barton moving up onto the wheel. Barton follows through with a good turn of pace. Looking to see Pizzetti is there. He's looking left and right to watch for both riders. It's Galushko. Please don't go on the road, ladies and gentlemen. Please. I ask you now, in the closing moments of the bike race, 1 lap to go. Looking to see now that Enrico Pizzetti making the pace, the Europa Cycles rider. Then, of course, looking to see Galushko looks over the shoulder. Racing through now. It's Paul Barton sitting third wheel, the Englishman. Another dropped American sitting the pace. I can see the bunch coming. They're coming at 100 mile an hour. Looking to see go through at bell lap, Pizzetti. Barton, there's the bell now. There's the bunch. And as they go through now, it's Roland Henning doing the turn of pace. Also the Russian rider there, Schaefer. Schaefer in there doing the turn. Looking at this bunch go there. 9 seconds, Ray Godkin, who's got the time on them now. 9 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. What a final finale to the big one, to this great event, with this domination of the endurance of the turns of pace. Enrico Pizzetti looks over the shoulder to see how Galushko's travelling. Galushko's travelling well at the moment, looks confident. Barton is still the one to look for as we watch to see them. So Barton is doing the most turns of pace, looks over, Galushko comes through for the turn now, then Pizzetti, then the Englishman. They're still in that same order. Galushko looks over, the American comes through to do a turn of pace. They're slowing down the American. I don't know, the pace is slowing down. What a finish this is going to be now. Galushko makes a turn. Galushko coming up. Well, the Wollongong City Council, of course, here and supporting this great finale of the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic as we look to see Galushko changing gears. They're looking at one another, but here's Matsana coming. Look, they're looking and watching, but the big bunch is swallowing them up. It's going to be, I think, it could be the all-up racing through now. And looking to see, here they come. It's like a giant snake weaving around the road. It looks like Galushko, Dave Spencer going to the front, Dave on the inside. Dave Spencer, Galushko takes the lead as they come up towards the line now. Galushko goes to the line first. Enrico Pizzetti second, Dave Spencer third, possibly Paul Barton would have been fourth.
And there they are, the final chance to get some time bonuses. It didn't really matter in the end for Vladimir Galushko because he won that stage, the final stage of the race, from Enrico Pizzetti, the Apollo rider, and David Spencer. I should say Pizzetti's the Europa rider, the Italian stallion. Vladimir Galushko, overall standings well clear of David Spencer and Pizzetti. I should point out it was important for Pizzetti to break clear of Spencer so he can get into that second spot. It didn't happen. He was down by 2 seconds in the end, and Matsana rewarded again for consistent riding, especially in the criteriums. And Thomas Lisa, who also was a consistent rider throughout, because consistency obviously the key in such a long race. But as soon as Galushko put on that yellow leader's jersey, it was a tight fit, I thought, Phil. It looked very comfortable on him from that...
Well, he had the benefit of a strong team who were all for one man, and this is the way the Soviets ride everywhere in the world. They don't care which one of the team wins, as long as one of them does, and the man that shows to be the strongest, they will just sacrifice everything for him. And today, he just owed them a favour, and he paid them back. He went out strongly, but when you get a final stage of the race, and you get the top 3 finishes on the classification taking the last 3 places on the first 3 places rather on the stage, then you know the best men have won the prizes.
How good is Galushko compared to riders you've seen all over the world?
Galushko is very good. I would rate him one of the best sprinters in the world, and there's a rumour going around here today that Jan Ross, who is a world champion and now manages a top team in Holland, has approached him to turn professional next year. So I think we'll hear a lot more about Galushko.
Which means we won't see him next year if he turns professional.
If he turns pro, we won't. Oh, I think we'll be the only unhappy ones. The riders will be very happy, Andy.
Well, Galushko and his teammates are celebrating right now. Why shouldn't they? They won the individual #1 position as well as the team's position. So here's a special tribute with the Soviet national anthem as the theme. Certainly a great day for the Soviets, but let's run down right through all those results. The King of the Mountains, the whole lot from go to woe, and classifications show us in the overall sprint and stage points total. Galushko 48 points, Tommy 21, Sprook 20 and Destro 13. But let's throw to this item now and we'll give you the full rundown on all those.
great result that was, because at one stage, of course, it was Poland who was challenging. They dropped away yesterday. Vladimir Galushko wins also the sprint standings today from Maurizio Tomi. And in the King of the Mountains, well, you're looking at him, Manfred Otto. And he was a good rider because he took the lead away from Alexander Scheffer, and then he finally hung on to win by just 4 points. Sergei Shmievskoy giving the USSR third place here as well. Well, and the Soviets have been the team, haven't they, really? And Manfred Otto, he became, I think, the most popular rider on the race.
Yes,
he was always joking as well.
Always.
And he went out on one day, won a couple of climbs, and he kept the lead. Good for him.
We've got more action for you right around Australia on SBS. This is a very good package, and I must compliment the work by the editors in particular. They've been under a lot of pressure to get the pictures out to you, and right across Australia, of course, Video Pack presenting the pictures for all the news outlets. But this is a special tribute put together by editor, I've forgotten his name, Paul. Yes, they have done a good job, but indeed, what do you think of this race? Now, you've been here a few years now. How does it shape up compared to events all over the world?
Oh, it has its own ranking now, there's no question about that, Andy. It is the last race of a long season, and it's very often construed that the riders come over here for a holiday. But the way they've ridden this, with an average speed of, what, 44 kilometres an hour, believe me, that's an average speed that you would see in the Tour de France. And so it's been a very good race, it's been competitive, helped with the wind. We've only seen really 2 breakaways get away from the pack, but there's been plenty going all of the time. But the pack have been so tenacious, they've just fought back to stay together. And I've enjoyed this race. I think Phill Bates, the organiser, would agree with me. This really has been the best of the 9.
And talking of the best of the 9, if you've watched us closely over the last 9 days, you'll know all about our Duracell competition, where you can win some top quality prizes.
Yes, this is your chance to win a bike from the winning team, valued at over $3,500, and that doesn't include the glory that comes with a winner's machine, plus 10 Duracell bikes as well. All you have to do is write down Phill Liggett's picks as the 9 Duracell toughest riders of the day. They'll be announced each day, and write them down on the back of an envelope. At the end of the 9 days of competition, add your pick of the toughest rider of the tour from those 9. Send your entries to the Duracell Top 10 competition, P.O. Box 28, Milsons Point. The first entry drawn, whose choice of the toughest rider is the same as Phill Liggett's, will win the bike from the winning team. The next 10 correct entries, a Duracell machine. Entries closed, last mail Friday, November 2.
Okay, if you haven't had a chance to write down these names, get your pens ready. From day 1, Patrick Yonker was the winner. Day 2, Robert McLaughlin, another Australian rider. Frank Wasmuth from East Germany was the 3rd. Glenn Wilson, another Aussie. Danny Hennessy, who many people didn't expect to finish. Then on day 6, Robert Powell from Ireland. Igor Patenko, stunning ride by him, that leg out of Foster. And Glenn Price on day 8.
And the man today, well, he's been the man of the race in many people's eyes, I suppose, but today he proved exceptional. He broke away and he won the stage. He's now equalled the riders who have won 4 stages over the years in the Commonwealth Bank Classic. And if he comes back next year and he wins a 5th, he'll be outstanding and out on his own. So we'll have to go for the man who's won the race, and that is Vladimir Galushko as today's star rider.
And don't forget that you've now got to pick the toughest of those 9 and send your entries to SBS, care of Post Office Box 2061. There it is at Milson's Point. And the entry's closed, by the way, the last mail on November the 2nd. And that virtually brings us to a close for the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic. And I must say it's been a great pleasure to work with Phill Liggett. It's been an experience for me. All I can say is that the whole crew, everyone from the top right down to the bottom, to get all these pictures out by 5:30, I thought it couldn't
It's
happen.
been a terrific schedule. I mean, we're talking now only just over an hour and a half since the race finished, and you've seen the programme that the guys have done, so they've done a great job. I would like to mention the police too, Andy, the New South Wales Police, who brought this race safely down the Pacific Highway all of the way, because they've done a great job, and it's a terrific responsibility. It's a live cargo of 80 riders, and they've done well done. Well done, lads.
And finally, a special thank you to Phill Bates, the race director. How can you improve on this one this year? And a special mention to Adrian Swift, the producer, and director Tonia Slanidis, who is speaking into my ear as we speak. That's the wind-up. On behalf of the whole crew, goodbye.
Plus.